And I phoned the wrong, I got a card saying Jam Productions, and I phoned it, and I thought I was speaking to Ken, and I was speaking to John. So that's how I got to know John. So when John came over, he said he needed a lift down to Radio 1, so I took him down to Radio 1, and Johnny Beerling sort of sat there saying, yes, fine, okay, and then John put on his tapes and played in the jingles, and he went, wow, yeah, hey, hang on a second. He said, I really wasn't expecting much of this, because this is the letter I got, and it was literally like a letter in crayon that had been sent. It was just terrible from George, which probably didn't do any better. It probably wasn't in crayon, but anyway. So that's how John got the Radio 1 jingles. Amazingly, Piccadilly Radio, if you did very well there, as a bonus, they would send you to America. And I was lucky enough to be chosen to go to America. This was shortly after John had been here. And so I said they wanted to send me to New York for 10 days. And I said, well, can I also take a little trip to Dallas? And they said, yeah, no problem at all. So I quickly rearranged the tickets without looking. So I spent 3 days in New York and 10 days in Dallas. And I got to stay up at TN. I say stay up because they used to work, both Ken Justice and John Wolfe, at Nocturnal, and they stay up really late. 3 a.m. I was sitting with Ken and he's mixing some jingles, and he said, oh, I'll phone John. I said, in bed now? And he said, oh, they won't. Right. Hi. John was there. John's nocturnal. That's part of his character. Real interesting things happened at Piccadilly, very strange things. I had a phone call once from a guy, the little guy came on the voice. Do you think you could recommend somebody with, a keyboard and, possibly a computer that we could, I need to make some music. And I said, fine, okay, I can recommend you with one of the musicians that we use and blah, blah. Who is it? He said, well, it's Alvin Stardust. Right, Alvin Stardust. My cuckoo. Yes, well, the thing is, I'm on the Sooty Show. And Sweep has got to sing a song, and I've got to compose it tonight because I've got to take it into the tomorrow. I can't believe this is happening. Very weird things used to happen at Piccadilly. But one of the weird things that happened is that Alan Fawkes walked in. This is Alan here. Alan was a local musician, and he had done a lot of commercial jingles, and he was the first musician I ever met who actually, when I played in the Dallas stuff, said, hey, that's good. Most of them said, oh, I didn't use that one, no problem at all, but he said, oh, that's good. Have you ever heard of the High-Lows? No. Singers Unlimited? Yes. That kind of thing. So, these were some of the jingles that Alan was playing at the time. I did help him with this. He played me a show reel to start off with, and the strange thing is, when I heard it first, I thought it said, I'd like to introduce you to Alan Fawkes. He'll put a big explosion in your ass. We had a girl singer who didn't enunciate very well. Anyway, here's the next track.
I'd like to introduce you to Alan Fawkes. He'll put a big explosion in your ass. The catchy kind of music that really talks and it's sounding like you've never had. He'd like to demonstrate his versatility with jingles of every shape and style. So lose that frown, just you sit right down and listen for a while.
If you've ever written advertisements for radio or TV, or for that matter, if you've ever had advertisements prepared for you to be broadcast, you'll know just how vital the right soundtrack is.
Commercial jingles from, some early 70s, no commercial radio around here. No, not bad at all. So, and he took an interest in the jam stuff. He had a girl singer called Friday Brown, who I didn't take to very much. That's the girl that was singing the first one. The first session I ever did with her for him, because I used to help him out with his commercial jingles once I got to know him, she sort of sang, some obvious little thing, whatever it was, and at the end she went... Okay, if you really need it, I'll do it again. What? So she didn't last very long. As I say, I had played him some of the Dallas stuff, and he sort of said, oh, you know, that's just harmony, vocals and so on. So I said, okay. He had a couple of friends, and I said, well, I'll give you this old Pam's a cappella. Can you go away and try and reproduce it and just put Piccadilly in it or something like this? And it sounds weird now because the voices sound so strange, but this is what he came back with. This is track 14.
It's the Piccadilly sound, the best around, serving you in stereo.
Radio 261.
It's for you. It's the Piccadilly sound. It's the Piccadilly sound.
Well, I could tell that the voices weren't all right, but, you know, he had an idea of what it took to do these kind of things, so I teamed up with him. And the first thing we did was the Piccadilly 1152 package. It was a very steep learning curve. Alan often used to tell the story that he made minus £100 on this package. But we did all sorts of stupid things, like, you know, we didn't know. We were learning the business. We put down one take of the rhythm, and that wasn't very good, so we'd do another take of the rhythm, that was okay. We'd do another take of the rhythm on one cut, and think, well, okay, you know, we last got the one we wanted. And then we ended up, by some bizarre accident, putting the brass on one take and the strings on another. So, I mean, those are the things that we didn't know about vocal keys, or I thought Alan did, but, you know, it took him a while to understand how the whole thing works. And so the first package we did was the Piccadilly 1152 package. We actually did vocal auditions, and we paid people to come and audition. There was no singers in this town, really, that did jingles. And one 60s pop star came and auditioned for us, and we were amazed that he would be bothered. And we stood there with his wife, making nice comments, even though it was absolutely appalling. And she said, oh, yes, he's got a lot better since he came off the cocaine. So he didn't join the vocal group. We tried very hard to copy jam stuff, and there was a lot of confusion at the very first package we did, because I'd given examples of jam stuff to Alan to do, you know, jingles along those sort of lines. He'd given them to an arranger, and the arranger had said, oh, I think I prefer the original, not understanding the copyright things, and had actually done exactly note for note those arrangements. There were about 3 or 4 cuts that were like that. And as we were doing it, I was thinking, oh, hey, this is a bit too close, this. But in the end, they were done, and they were replaced. And like, it is a very small world. John got to hear it, was very cross, and those sort of things kind of happen. This is a few cuts from the first package we did, and you know, you can hear that the vocals are really very ropey on it. This is track 15. Anyway, I was still working at Piccadilly when we did those, and you know, it was a really steep learning curve to try and find out what you did to make them sound good. But they bought them and they were happy with them. I then set up a studio with Alan called Alpha Sound. Originally it was called Alpha Sound Tape Tricks, because I had a little company called Tape Tricks, but then we went and just called it Alpha Sound eventually. This is our first studio, and it was actually built, this is a picture, next picture? No, sorry, this is not our first studio. This is you know, typical of when we were recording the first few packages. We used to rent studios for the backing tracks, and this was Studio 2.